welcome back to my channel. I'm Momo. How are y'all doing today? For as long as I've been drawing, I've been creating original characters and stories. It's something I love, but it can also be really creatively taxing. I've been working on the same projects for years, and over time that led to a kind of an on and off creative block that I couldn't get over. So I decided to do something completely new. I'm putting all my old stories on pause and starting fresh with a brand new idea and brand new characters. In today's video, I'll be designing the main characters for this new project while talking about how I create characters for long-term projects. So, there are a few ways you can start a long-term project. You can either begin with the idea of a storyline, or you can start with a character and write the story around them. I usually do a mix of both. You can start by developing the characters first, but for me, coming up with characters before the story is considerably harder. For example, for this specific project, I had a very loose idea for a story, and then I had an idea of how I wanted the main character's general vibe to be. Once I had these basic ideas, I started to explore my options for the general theming of the story. Its deeper meaning. You know, the message you want to share with the world. Now that I am an adult, my stories often revolve around childhood and early adolescence, because these points of my life are done with and far enough in time for me to be able to see my experiences objectively and in retrospect. So basically, I can pinpoint what I had trouble with and how I was able to overcome those challenges. And believe it or not, that can be a very powerful starting point to any story. They say to write what you know, and there is a truth to that. Stories that come from the heart are leagues more impactful than those told just because the concept was cool. It's not a requirement, of course, but it's something worth considering. Especially since you'll find that this will definitely help you write the characters, since you have a specific goal you want to meet. More often than not, the main characters I write are reflections of the struggles I dealt with in my younger years, and the narrative therein is a device to push these characters to come to the same conclusions I did, just in a more fun and fantastical way. In that sense, writing can be a reflection of your life, your struggles, and how you overcame them. And interestingly enough, you'll actually become attached to them much more easily, since you'll be able to see yourself in them more quickly. It's really important to take your time in this initial phase, because these are the foundations for the entire project, and a project with strong foundations that you're happy with, has a much bigger chance of success. Use this phase to play around with themes, ideas, characters, and their relationships. Don't commit to your first idea. Explore around and have fun with it. You will surprise yourself. And slowly, everything will start to come together until it hits a point where you feel comfortable actually starting the project. By using this method, the story and characters will be developed at the same time, and they will feel much more coherent with one another. At the same time you're playing around with this writing side, you should also start working on the designs. More often than not, these first drafts will change quite frequently, but that's not a bad thing at all, because these will be the foundations for the actual design work you'll do later in the development process. It really is just another aspect of the creative process that can be very fun and rewarding. I would, however, put a loose deadline on this pre-production phase of somewhere between a month and 3 months, just so you don't go down a spiral of infinite iterations and chase an idea of perfection that just isn't possible. Once you settle on what you want to do, it's time to take everything you've done so far and actually start working on the final designs. This next tip depends a lot on the type of project you're making, as well as the medium, and it's about simplicity. When designing a character, you want to strike a balance between too simple and too many details. I think most people, especially beginners, tend to add too many details. I also think this happens a lot because lately VTubers and gacha games have become much more popular, and those character designs are notorious for being extremely detailed. Detail isn't a bad thing, but it has to be applied intentionally. What do I mean by this? If your project involves the use of 3D models, you can get away with more detail than if your project is a comic or a 2D animation. You also have to remember that you might have to draw these characters multiple times, and the more complex the design, the longer it takes to draw, which can make the production a much longer process than it needs to be. My rule of thumb is, if a detail doesn't reinforce a characteristic of the character, whether that's personality, social standing, role, etc., it can and it probably should be omitted. Complex characters are much harder to draw consistently. If you keep forgetting a detail, you might as well drop it. If you keep forgetting it, it's probably not that important. A lot of people add detail because they're afraid of empty space, but that empty space is actually really important because it helps balance out the design. It gives your eyes a place to rest, and it helps guide the viewers to more important parts of the character design. If you're like me and love adding patterns to designs, I'd recommend keeping them simple, like the grid pattern I used on the boy's Hanten, or making an image pattern and just slapping it onto the flats. It's not realistic at all, and it won't work with every style, but it's still a good stylization trick overall. And bonus, if you use Clip Studio Paint, it's really easy to use patterns, whether you download them from the Clip Studio Asset Store or you made them yourself. But again, try to not overdo it. One pattern per character is usually more than enough. On the other side of the coin, designs that are too simple can look generic or boring. My advice is to choose 2 or 3 standout design aspects for each character. For example, for this boy character, his standout details are his big eyes with heavy eye bags, his fluffy pink hair, his hat and jacket, and his slippers. Simplicity tends to lead to more iconic and memorable designs. Also, don't design your characters in a vacuum. Draw your cast side by side as soon as possible. Ideally, the cast's design should play off one another and look good together. You want to make sure that when these characters stand next to each other, they don't compete for attention and they look like they truly live in the same world. You should always strive for cohesion in the cast, unless there's a very specific story reason for them to not feel cohesive. It's important to keep in mind that a character's design is simply the vehicle to tell their story. So the design needs to be good representation of their personality, culture, and background. This is especially true when it comes to their outfits, hairstyles, accessories, and props. The way someone presents themselves changes a lot depending on their personality. For example, a shyer character might wear baggier clothes and have longer hair, almost as a way to hide themselves. Meanwhile, a more confident character might have shorter hair or hair that is tied up, and wear clothes that are less baggy, more fitted, or more expressive. One point I find really important is culture. If a character comes from a specific culture, especially one that is not your own, research is a non-negotiable. It's important that you understand the culture you're representing, their beliefs, how they live, and how and why they dress the way they do. You don't need to be a specialist, but you do need to at least know the bare minimum to represent a culture with care and respect. Culture is not a costume. Don't choose to represent a culture just because of aesthetics. That's the wrong way to go about it. And you know, I realize research sounds boring, but it really doesn't have to be. For example, this project I'm working on is set in Japan in the 90s and involves a lot of folklore creatures since most characters are yokai. I'm not Japanese. I have a big affinity for Japan because I am Rokasei, but ultimately Japanese culture isn't my own. I'm actually taking this project as an opportunity to learn more about Japanese culture, folklore, and traditions. It's a way for me to feel closer to my ancestry, so I genuinely have fun researching. I've watched a lot of videos explaining cultural tidbits about Japan, and I've bought books on the subject. I even have an art book focused solely on Japanese woodblock prints from the masters of traditional Japanese art. And I've taken the time to implement what I've learned into the designs of the characters. Nothing about the designs of this kitsune girl was a happy accident. Everything is meant to tell you what kind of kitsune she is, her ranking among other kitsune, her age, and her ultimate role. I will die on the hill that research is an extremely important aspect of character creation. But I am also aware that because I am not part of the community, I will miss some things. I will most likely make mistakes, and you need to be aware of that too. And that's okay, as long as you remain humble about it. At the very least, you did everything you could with the best of intentions. Narratives are essentially about conflict. Without conflict, you don't have a story. The conflict doesn't need to be the end of the world level. Conflict can be as simple and mundane as someone trying to get better at talking to people and making friends. But ultimately, there needs to be conflict. And that conflict needs to fundamentally change the main character by the end of the story in some way, whether that's their belief system or their personality. This gradual change is usually referred to as a character arc. Character arcs need to make sense and they need to be gradual. A person doesn't change overnight, but when something big happens, they might slowly start changing their behavior to match their new beliefs. No one's perfect. It's literally impossible, so your character shouldn't be perfect either. Perfect characters are boring because they don't change, they don't grow. We, as humans, grow, so we love seeing stories where characters evolve or at least change in some meaningful way. I like to give my characters one big flaw alongside a few smaller, more inconsequential flaws. The big flaw is usually the whole point of the character. For example, if I have a socially anxious character, their big flaw is that anxiety. Their arc will be about getting a little better with it, even if it's just a small improvement. The point of that character is to reflect how someone can slowly get better at socializing. The flaws of the character need to be implemented into the narrative, and you actually need to use these flaws against them. That way the narrative will naturally push them to reflect on their actions, and ideally that makes their personal growth feel earned and believable. Character arcs should be worked on as early as possible because they have a big influence on the overall narrative. The last point I want to make isn't really a tip as much as it is something that naturally happens during the writing process. As you write, you'll gradually learn more and more about your characters. What usually happens is that you'll have an idea early on of what a character might say in a specific scene, but once you actually get there, you look at it and think, they wouldn't say that. They sort of become their own person outside of you, and that's a really rewarding feeling, because it means you've developed them to a point where they feel alive. Once you get to that point, don't fight it just because you had a very specific vision for that particular scene. If you feel like they wouldn't act a certain way, it's because they wouldn't. And if you know that, your audience will notice too. Don't be too rigid about it. Let your stories and characters grow naturally. And that's all I have for today. If you want to support the channel and help me keep making videos like this, you can join my channel memberships. Members get early sneak peeks of upcoming videos and concept art for personal projects like the one I was working on today, exclusive emojis and loyalty badges, and even a shout out at the end of the videos just like this. Thank you so much to Sunny's Art in the Sky for supporting the channel. Your support means the world. If you wanna see more stuff from me, I'm also on Instagram and Twitter at momopurin_chan, on Kara at momopurin, and on Blue Sky at momopurin_chan. Thank you so much, and until next time, bye!